there's no training that prepares you to become a recruiter. You don't go to college for it. There are no training courses for it. When I started here, I had no idea what I was doing, who I was talking to, why I was talking to them, or anything of the sort.
Our day starts with morning trading meetings, 8 a.m., 8:15, depending on how many people are going to be involved. We'll tier it off into multi-tiers, whether it's going to be just junior recruiters, practice managers, or a combination of the two.
Through the exam process and through repetition of doing what you do every day and being put in these situations in real life on the phone and through the exams, you go from being someone here who doesn't know the craft at all, doesn't know what you're doing, to just doing what you do reflexively.
The training meetings can entail and encompass a variety of either role-playing, business development strategies, corporate strategies, negotiation strategies, a little bit of everything that you have to deal with, not only recruiting but business.
The kind of subject matter you're trained on, well, there's varying degrees. The first is how to ask a question. You're taught that. You're taught how to handle rejection, because you're rejected all the time. You're taught that if someone says no, they're not saying no to you, they're saying no to the concept you're bringing up to them. Then you're taught a marketplace. You learn whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's pipe fitters, whatever market you go into, you learn the marketplace and the nooks and crannies and the idiosyncrasies of the people in that marketplace.
Another thing that might come up in the training meetings would be negotiation of salary. And the key here is not necessarily getting the most money out of our client, but to make sure that the negotiation between the client and the candidate only happens once, really to eliminate the stress. A lot of people think candidates are the only one under stress and worried about what the client might think. But quite frankly, the person that's doing the hiring is just as worried about rejection. And so we come into play to let them know, hey, this person's interested, not interested, this is what it's going to take to get them on board on your team, as well as make sure that they're prepared to accept the offer before we even extend it.
One of the major quality control assets that I noticed right from the get-go when I started here was we would record phone calls during the day. And when you're new here, you don't know what you're doing, what you're asking. And the next morning when you had your meeting with your supervisor, you'd spend 45 minutes listening to your phone calls. And the amazing thing with that was you wouldn't exactly remember, your recollection of that conversation would be very different than what was on the tape. And you would start to learn, oh, I should have asked this question here, I missed a clue there, I should have followed up on that, I should have answered this way, I should have shut up and let the person talk. And you really learned an ebb and flow and the correct way to hold the conversation, but when to ask the appropriate question, because those answers are going to help you figure out the match or how to get the result you're looking for.
We have a very rigorous 7-step process that we use to go through prospecting candidates all the way through to the final acceptance, and then even helping candidates through the process of quitting their job.
The exam process is extremely, at first it was a bit overwhelming because you're on the phone all day, you're learning your craft, and then you're asked to either write or memorize the exam. And then when the exam is given, you're put up in front of your peers. Typically it's a 3-person committee, and you're put in different situations, different hypotheticals, different role-play situations, real-life situations that you handle on the phone every day, and you're essentially asked to apply what you've learned on those exams. Once you pass an exam, then you go on to the next. You can't manage in the company, nor can you be a stockholder in the company until you've successfully passed all 12 exams.
Your peers, other recruiters, senior recruiters, are the ones that administer the test. So they're the ones that are going to be letting you know whether you passed or failed. They do the questioning, and ultimately, if you can pass the test that your peers give you, you're going to be ready for anything that a client or a candidate will give you in the real environment.